Good morning. We're just going to give a couple of minutes to allow our guests to get in. We are excited to be back. Good morning. Good morning. As it continues, Councilman, I know they were missing us for a little bit. When you start getting text messages and email and all of that good stuff. So just excited to have everybody joining. So as they come in, I'm gonna continue. I do want to make sure that we maximize the time today. I just want to welcome you all back to our first Downtown Download segment of 22. I am honored as always to share this segment with my co-host, Councilman Eric Costello. Councilman, I wasn't sure how people were gonna feel, with once things started opening back up, like would they want this download? But if you're anything like me, I've been getting an overwhelming amount of email messages, text messages, and all of that. So just excited to do this show. This is our drop the mic version. We have some special guests, so we'll talk with you about that in a little bit. And I know they are excited because in 13 days, 5 hours, 4 seconds, all of that good stuff. I won't do the countdown, but Baltimore is going to be different. And we're excited to talk about that today. Before we begin with all of that, for the format of Downtown Download, we have not changed it. I'll go through a little bit of what we have happening at Downtown Partnership. I'll transition it to Councilman Costello to give any updates that are happening in the city overall. We'll come back and introduce our guests today. And Councilman Costello will give them the hard questions. And then, what we're asking you as attendees to please put your questions in the Q&A box. And after we get through some of the initial questions I want to make sure that I'm coming live with your questions. We did receive some in advance, so thank you. We'll try to make sure that we get through all of those, or as many of those as possible. With that, want to say a couple of things too. For everybody who sent me cards, flowers, texts, emails, whatever you did, know that I felt it, I mean it, I love it. That I lost my brother a couple of weeks ago, and that has been probably one of the most devastating experiences that I had. But what I can tell you is our city has shown an amazing amount of love. When I wanted to go in and, hide or do whatever, you guys didn't let me. And so I thank you for that from the bottom of my heart. So let's talk about what we have today. If we can continue on with the slides. I want to make sure that, I'm going to tease a little bit who we have here today. We have Commissioner Jacqie McWilliams, the commissioner of the Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association, or CIAA as we call it. And call him also my partner in crime, Al Hutchinson, the president and CEO of Visit Baltimore. So we'll give a little bit more of their background, but they're the teaser. They are the ones that we want to make sure that you're here today to listen to. Other things that we have going on, just to give you an update on where we are. You guys know our Boost program, which stands for Black Owned and Operated Storefront Tenancy, has just been an initiative that not only has helped our sort of central business district area, we're getting calls throughout the state, have been asked nationally to really help figure out how we take this to scale. This is an opportunity where we help these initial 5 Black businesses open storefronts in downtown, seed them with up to $50,000 to help with their build out, facade improvement, operating expenses, worked with a curriculum to make sure that they were not only just in the place, but thriving, and could not have done that without our title sponsor, Fearless, our other partners and sponsors, BGE, M&T Bank, and others. The good news about that is our first storefront has opened, the Black Genius Art Show opened, and I was so excited to be a part of that. And so the other ones, as you see, are coming soon, under construction. And so just really glad to see that come to fruition. Part of what we know is we want to activate our ground level retail. And if we can do that while being intentional about making our downtown reflective of the demographics of our city, that's a triple win with that. So wanted to let you know that we had that going on. Other things that we have, and just want to make sure that we keep you up to date in the area of safety. We've started a monthly newsletter that we're sending out where we combine a lot of the safety efforts and updates, because we know there's real and there's perceived safety, and we want to make sure that we're doing whatever we can to help create a safe environment for our city. And part of what we know is the things that we've been doing is starting to work. In addition to the Baltimore City Police Department, our security efforts, our downtown Baltimore guides, we've also employed off-duty school police officers and Maryland State police officers. And what this does is helps balance out our offering, what we want to do, where we have youth related things. We want to make sure we're de-escalating. And it's not just about enforcement. It's making sure we're working with our partners for mental health and all of these things. And so we see the numbers coming down. We know that we have an overall 25% reduction from Q3, and that's what we want to continue to see the trends go down. So I thank you for everybody who's stepping up, raising their hands, and helping make sure that our city is as safe as it can be. So, Councilman, I just wanted to make sure I got all of those things out. I want to toss it over to you if there are any other updates from the city that we should include.
Thanks so much, Shalonda. It's great to be back. I know the burning question we've been getting is when is Baltimore's premier webinar coming back? The wait is over. We're back today, so really excited to be back. One quick update on city services. Recycling curbside collection has shifted to bi-weekly. In the weeks that your curbside recycling collection is not occurring, the community collection centers have been reopened. I'm going to include a link in the chat, which has more information on that. We're hoping that that service can be restored as quickly as humanly possible. There have been some pretty severe staffing shortages related to positive COVID cases within the Department of Public Works Solid Waste Division. So we'll continue to monitor that situation and hope we will have more updates in the very near future. And that is all I have on the city updates side of things.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much. And so a couple of things I'd like to just let you know a little bit about who we're talking to, and then we want to get into the Q&A. So does that work for everybody? I'm gonna say yes, 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 because I know we can't hear them at this moment. So if we can, I'd like to, Commissioner, I'm actually going to introduce you first, ladies first in here, but I know that you're in your 9th season serving as the Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association Commissioner, first female to serve in that role and first appointed African-American female representing the NCAA Division 1, 2, and 3. So kudos, snaps, and all of that. We know that you spent the first 9 years at the NCAA managing those championships to include both men's and women's division. I don't know if you know, but I am a basketball player. So I just want, just in case you need some other, something to happen on the court, I am available, but I know that you have an extensive history. We want to make sure that, their full bios are on our website as well. And for Al, Al, I like to say that I'm credited with helping bring you to Baltimore. So thank you for bringing this to Baltimore. So this is like a double win. But we know that you started as the president and CEO of Visit Baltimore in November of 2016. And as the chief executive of our official destination and sales marketing organization, we know that you're responsible for overseeing the promotion of Baltimore to leisure travelers and convention businesses while demonstrating the impact of tourism in the city. And so just want to applaud you for all that you've been able to do in these years and all that you will continue to do. So Councilman, with that sort of intro, I'm going to turn it over to you, get to the hard questions, and then leave me the easy ones. How about that?
Excellent. Thank you so much, Shalonda. Commissioner McWilliams, thank you so much for being here. Al Hutchinson, thank you as well. I think this is your second, third, maybe fourth time on Downtown Download, so it's great to have you back, Al. Want to jump right into it this morning. Really excited about the upcoming CIAA tournament. For those members of our audience and folks listening from home who don't know and who have never attended the tournament, can you tell us what makes the CIAA men's and women's basketball tournament such a unique and special sporting event, unlike anything else?
Sure, and thank you all for having me on this kickoff, getting back, and Shalonda, just condolences to you and your family again, and Al, always a pleasure. These are easy questions for us, so we're gonna make sure you all have the information that you need, but I will tell you what is so special about this event in the CIAA. It's one of the country's top 10 cities. in coming to Baltimore with the highest percentage of Black African-American residents. Baltimore is a destination that celebrates and amplifies Black culture. You know, the CIAA is a historical conference. 1912 is when it was founded. 1946 was the first tournament. It's been 52 years, not 52, 1952 was the last time that we were in Baltimore hosting this event, which happened at Morgan State University. We bring 22 teams. It's nothing like most conferences where they split the men's and women's basketball programs. We bring our teams together. So we'll bring 24 teams, 22 games, and we'll be highlighted on ESPN, both men and women's tournaments. There's a lot of history in this conference. Earl the Pearl Monroe, that you all know, that has been a part of that community. He will be coming back to help celebrate Bobby Dandridge and several other Hall of Famers that many people may know or not know, but are very significant to this conference and the foundation. So I'm just thrilled to be a part of the legacy and standing on shoulders of, you know, John B. McClendon, who's named after our Hall of Fame, Big House Gaines, who coached Earl the Pearl. To everybody, they are these famous entities. To me, they were people like our fathers and uncles. And so that's what you see in the CIAA. It is an event, it's the third largest tournament in the country as it relates to economic value, partnerships, bringing people to a community and running a tournament for 7 days. And so we really get an opportunity to use our platform of basketball and build out community in a way that I think sports should.
And that's a perfect segue into when you talk about the economic impact of the tournament being, you know, the third largest impact of any tournament in the country. Al, can you talk to us a little bit about, and Commissioner, feel free to chime in, what your hopes and expectations are for that economic impact on Baltimore, and how we're going to track the success of those goals as we start the tournament up.
Yes, sir. First, thanks, Councilman Costello, and condolences, Shalonda, for sure. But yeah, look, let me just go backwards a little bit. One of the reasons why we looked at going after the CIAA basketball tournament was Baltimore City. We needed something that could help us during historically slow business time period. So the last week in February, business is pretty much slow, especially in the hospitality industry. Hotel occupancy is normally down. Restaurateur receipts aren't that great. So we wanted to try to find a good opportunity. And CIAA sort of was there. We had a conversation about it. And fortunately, Commissioner McWilliams, the 12 presidents, felt that Baltimore made sense. So it really fit a really need period for our community, Councilman. And so that was the first thing. And secondly, to what the commissioner just outlined, it's an iconic sports marketing event. Probably in the African-American sports marketing space, it's the largest in the country. And to all the interest that the commissioner mentioned, the value of it, basketball is the backdrop. So what we're hoping for in Baltimore is bringing this basketball to the city, but also there's going to be a huge fan base, alumni, folks in the DMV who attended one of these institutions, individuals who didn't go to one of these schools will be coming into the city. So we believe that it's going to be a great social gathering. It's going to be like a family reunion, obviously, but we'll be able to celebrate basketball, but also celebrate Black excellence. And so obviously the pandemic's been a factor. Let's be real here. So pre-pandemic, $50 million in economic impact is what Charlotte generated in their 15th year. Then started 50 million, they grew it over 15 years. So we're hoping and expecting that there are going to be a number of folks here. They're going to be staying in our hotels. And the good news story is we're about 70% hotel occupancy for this tournament. That's huge. And you think about the pandemic and everything that's going on right now, and our hotels are beginning to sell out. That's a good news story for the city councilman as well as the state because of that revenue. But our restaurants and tours generate some good economic impact. We will be partnering with a third-party company called Tourism Economics to do a economic impact study for us at the conclusion of the tournament. This organization did this similar work in Charlotte, so they understand the CIAA. They're not new to the game, but we think it's really, really important to get that sort of barometer as to the total impact. Yeah, I think it's going to be a huge driver for Baltimore in a very neat period. So we're excited about what the economics of this tournament can bring to the city.
Yeah, and Councilman, if I could add, I mean, that the economic, and Al and I talk about this all the time. We want to drive new business. I've seen, being a part of the CIAA here in Charlotte for 15 years, I've seen executives, I've seen young professionals move because they came to Charlotte and they loved it. We can imagine the same could happen in Baltimore. Their first time, there's several people who have not been to Baltimore from our tournament, that when they do, they'll see something different and understand and value the community differently. As we put this tournament on, it's so important for us to deliver the best event. We're still in the midst of COVID, and we get that. So we'll be managing protocols as needed, and we'll need everybody to pay attention to those. But at the end of the day, I want to be able, my hope is that we'll give the best event, we'll have the safety and precautions, the economic impact will be as best as we know it can be in COVID. People will have a great time, have a better understanding and the value of what this tournament means to us, but also what it could mean into the community as you continue to grow. And we're in Black History Month. We have our tournament intentionally at the end of February, where business is slow in community. So all eyes on CIAA across the country, not just in the state of Maryland and Baltimore, but across the country. So I hope that people will pay attention and value this event as much as we will, partnering with Baltimore and the state of Maryland.
That's fantastic. I know a lot of folks are really looking forward to this. Can you talk a little bit about how the CIAA has engaged with local organizations and our small business community throughout this planning process as we ramp up and get ready for some great basketball at the end of February?
Yeah, Councilman, I'll take a first stab at this one. And we did this very intentionally. Again, basketball is the backdrop, but coming to a city like Baltimore, it was very important to us to make sure our Black-owned businesses, our BIPOC businesses played a central role in this, because economics should trickle down to all of our businesses. So, we partnered early. Shalonda and the team at Downtown Partnership has been an integral part of this. We have the pop-up experiences that Shalonda and team are driving that's going to be right downtown in the footprint. A number of our Black-owned businesses will be setting up space in that environment. We partnered very early with an apparel company that's producing all the apparel for the volunteers, African-American owned manufacturing company. They're producing that apparel for us, and we think that's something that's important for us. We just recently partnered with a local African-American transportation company that will be taking all the attendees from hotels to the convention center to Royal Farms Arena free. And so that's another partnership. So we've been engaged. We've put together a Black owned business directory that will have restaurants and retail establishments on our website, as well as a hard copy that we'll have at every hotel. We're going to be pushing people to support our Black-owned businesses. That is extremely important. I know it's important to the CIAA, and it's important to Baltimore and to Visit Baltimore as well. So this has been extremely intentional, Councilman. We have welcome banners for the very first time for any convention that I know of, and you all have been here longer than me, and you can correct me, but we will have welcome banners on Pennsylvania Avenue. They're up now. On North Avenue, around Coppin State, and also around Morgan State. And so we wanted to make sure that all of Baltimore City residents felt the importance of this valuable tournament that's coming to town. And it's an economic driver. It's way more than basketball. This is a big moment for Baltimore City.
Yeah. And I would add, I love the work that the local organizing committee led by Al and his team and Shalonda, all the work that they've done to be inclusive of businesses and restaurants, all the things that we have done to even, advertise and market the tournament. But let me just say this so there's clarity about the CIAA and how we operate in working with minority-owned businesses. We have a vendor pavilion that's in FanFest. It's at capacity now, so there's no availability. So I would suggest next year, if you're interested in promoting and marketing or selling products, that you get in our FanFest as early as possible, because it does sell, and there's a great way for people to see all the things that you're doing. The CIAA itself, we run 14 championships. The basketball tournament is our largest. Majority of our companies that we work with, we are an event holding space. I know we run tournaments and events, but my staff are trained to run events, to put on meetings, to market and promote. We subsidize by hiring some national partners and some local partners if we need them to help us deliver what we need to do for all of our championships. But for the CIAA, if there's local opportunities, we'll work with Visit Baltimore, but mostly we have our team in place and then we find supplemental work. But the key is for us is that whatever city we go in, to partner with Visit Baltimore and the community to find out if there are ways that even our corporate sponsors, if they need restaurants, catering, drivers, you name that, that we're able to share that information with them as well. So just want to make sure that we are partnering, but we really depend on the city to help us navigate what availability is for areas that we might need locally. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But I will tell you that Visit Baltimore has done a really good job in helping managing, getting out the information and selecting minority and women-owned businesses as we need available for this tournament.
Hey, Councilman, if I could just add to that, it was real important for us to be considered to host this tournament. We had to provide a guaranteed scholarship money. And so for this upcoming tournament, 2022, there will be $800,000 in scholarship money that will be going to the CIAA to distribute among their 12 schools. That was extremely important. So as we partner with the city, their financial commitment, the state of Maryland's financial commitment, and then the private sector side of raising money, it's a total give back to the CIAA. And so a number of students will benefit from this tournament coming to Baltimore. Money raised, $800,000 in scholarships is huge. And so that's to give back to this conference. And we actually also, from a business opportunity standpoint, we have 3 contractual folks that has helped us to put on this tournament. They're all African-American, and they're partnering with us in the event space, in the fundraising space, and in the sports clinic space. And so it was important for us to partner with local Baltimoreans to help us put on this great tournament.
Thanks, Al. And, I heard the commissioner mention a couple of times that this tournament is more of an experience, right? It's the backdrop of basketball, but there's so much more that's going on with this tournament. So kind of taking a step back from basketball, the main attraction of it, can you speak a little bit to the peripheral programming that's happening in and around our community? What can visitors expect? And what can our residents locally in Baltimore City and our surrounding counties expect?
It's a great question. And my hope, this is another hope. I hope that Baltimore community, you come in and not leave out. I mean, the experience for CIAA is when our people come in, everybody leaves out, right? We don't want that. We want to engage you. We want you to be a part of all the events that we have. There is something for everyone, from the baby that's in the stomach to the seasoned adult who this might be their last tournament. That's what we see. I mean, the average age of our tournament is 55 and up. I think we're going to see a changing of the demographic of this based on, there is so much on this schedule, even in a COVID, more than I've seen in the past. I told my team the other day, I have no idea how we're getting this done, but I appreciate just the thoughtfulness from the community side. So in 11 days, I will be there. We'll do the Baltimore Youth Sports Clinic that Visit Baltimore and their team have helped us coordinate in order to impact or at least get in front of some youth who are interested in the game inside the community. Earl the Pro will be there. Bobby Dandridge would be there. I'll be there. I'm a former baller too, Shalonda, as you know. So, and part of this great conference. So giving life skills, workshops, you name it. High School Education Day and Career Expo are truly 2 big events for us. where we want the Baltimore City schools to see our institutions. We want to recruit those young people to all of our institutions differently that we've done this year. We've included Coppin, Morgan, Maryland Eastern Shore, some of our local schools to be a part of that HBCU community of recruitment. In our Career Expo, a great opportunity for anybody, not just college students, but if you're interested in a job or just trying to see what's out there, we'll have a lot of partners that are recruiting at that time and hiring on the spot. The other thing on our high school education day, our institutions in the past, I think one year we had like 500 students that enrolled at different institutions of our 12, over $2 million of scholarships at point to collectively were given to students to attend our institution. So just know they're waiving fees, they're recruiting, they want our students to go. So that's one thing I think is really important to us and to our presidents, to recruit your students in your community. The women's empowerment, student athlete empowerment, we've got a skate party, and we got all kinds of stuff, mental health panel discussions, the financial summit, and some of this is partnering. Baltimore's doing some of this, CIAA is doing it. Whatever you see on our schedule on CIAAtournament.org, those are CIAA official events. So we want to make sure you know that, because there'll be a lot of events that are not connected to the CIAA, because people like to be a part of this community, and we're not pushing them away. But the CIAA official events where Baltimore and the CIAA and the community have invested in hosting this event, the time, the money, the resources, the bodies, and the people, that's the things that we hope that you will participate in during the week.
Yeah, and Councilman Costello and Shalonda, if I could just add to what the commissioner mentioned, we wanted to do the tournament a little differently here in Baltimore, and in partnership with the commissioner, these educational sessions that she mentioned. You know, we're going to have a tech summit. You know, all of us know that small business and technology is really important in Baltimore City. So folks like Fearless will be a part of that. Verizon's going to be a part of that tech summit. We invite the community to attend these educational sessions. They're free, but they have to register. So the tech summit, there's another summit we're doing on mental health and wellness, because of a lot of us, especially in the African-American community, and our student athletes are, victimized by this mental illness. And so we want to talk about it and have an open conversation. The financial summit, there's another give back program we want to talk about in the African-American community, how we can, get better control of our wealth and grow more wealth, both individually and collectively. So these are some add-on sessions, and thankfully to the commissioner and her team, the willingness to partner with us on this. And we think it's going to be something that makes the tournament really special. And it's an offering for our residents to attend, and it's free. So we encourage them to go. And I know Downtown Partnership has the links for these educational sessions. So we encourage all the listeners to come out and attend some of these events for sure.
Councilman, you know what's so unique? I'm sorry. What's so unique about this partnership? We've never done this before with our partner. This is the first time where our partner has actually helped us, worked with us to identify those things of concern in our community and create platforms and opportunity for the community to be involved. We've done small business sessions and those things in the past, but this is even broader. These are things that are really impactful to the Baltimore City and to the CIAA whole in our community. The CIAA has always focused on the ancillary events, the free fan fest, and we do things in there, the cheerleading expedition, the band competition. We do things to really hype up our students and our institutions and getting them in the building and tickets. But this partnership has extended us a little bit differently in a good way to allow us to tackle other things that are important to us. This is a platform where we have the opportunity and really the responsibility to do that.
That sounds incredible. I hope if you are making any hiring decisions while you all are in town, that those folks are going to be staying in Baltimore and working remotely, of course.
Absolutely.
So, Commissioner and Al, let's say I'm a local attraction, an institution, or cultural institution, a restaurant, a retail business. Talk to me about ways that my organization can help welcome and create an inclusive environment for tournament attendees. And do you have any recommendations for how those organizations can be effective in marketing to tournament attendees?
So great question, Councilman. And on the front end of this was another commitment we made to the CIAA during our initial pitch, that we would take our entire community, hospitality and business community, through a diversity, equity, and inclusion training program. So we did 3 trainings. Our attractions that you mentioned, they were a part of this. Our hoteliers, our restaurateurs went through this training because it was important for us to educate our community first about who is the CIAA, what value do they bring to communities, who is their demographic. So we reached out to the attraction community early so they could get on board with this. They joined us in this partnership. They are part of our marketing and collateral that we've been pushing out via social media. I've done a number of radio segments, Richmond and other places. I know the commissioner has been out there as well. So we've been pushing and sort of broadcasting, sharing the news about our attractions, how they can participate. And then we've also offered all of our stakeholders an opportunity to volunteer. We're looking for at least 400 volunteers to join us. I can proudly say to date, we're about 50% filled in slots. And so that's a good news story. I think the community has stepped up and want to be a part of this. So, Councilman, it's really, really important for all of us to make sure everyone gets involved, and we want to make sure we welcome everyone. A lot of our attractions will be having functions for one of the institutions. I know Virginia State University will be doing a number of things at the Reginald Lewis Museum. Reginald Lewis, a graduate of Virginia State University. So there are a number of our attractions, from the aquarium to others, will be participating, partnering. Our Bot Pass, that's a part of this, will be offering discounts for folks to go to a number of our African-American owned attractions. So I believe, and Commissioner, you correct me if I'm wrong, the model that we've set up here is totally different in Charlotte, and Charlotte did a great job, no knock on them, but we wanted to make sure that our entire community here in Baltimore City could be a part of this and really roll out the red carpet, if you will, to welcome all of our guests to a great American city.
No, I agree. I mean, I think, we've been through enough experiences about diversity and inclusion at events, personally, professionally, you name it. I think Baltimore's done a really good job. And we've been doing training sessions since we announced this. And it could be with businesses, just letting them know the scope of who we are, how they can get engaged, how not to use our marks, how to go through processes through events. We've met with the hoteliers to say, this is what your account's going to look like. This is who you're going to expect in your hotel, whether it's a team, whether it's a sponsor, whether it's my president, it doesn't matter. Just giving a sense of who's coming in town, or students and student athletes. So I do think we work collaboratively, and I'm really grateful that the way that Visit Baltimore and the team have done a little bit at a time. We're not shocking people in 11 days that we're coming. This has been a conversation for almost 2 years, 720 days I haven't had a tournament. And I've counted the days. So we have been preparing since that announcement in 2020 in January, when we announced it, that we were coming. Since then, preparing the community that we're coming. It's interesting though, as we were building up, and when we come to Baltimore, we make sure even before the tournament that we've stayed in the hotels where we have contracted. We're eating at restaurants where we want people to go, whether they're Black restaurants or some cultural experience. Al and their team have taken us to places so that we can get familiar with the city. I've lived in Baltimore a couple of years. And Shalonda, I bought my first couple of pieces of art from a Black artist there. So, the ability to understand and value the community and take our president and our board around the city so they know what they're coming into. We have brought transition teams. Every institution has 5 to 6 members of their transition team. We have brought them to the city 2 or 3 times. They have visited, partners have come there about 5 times. So we're not going to be strangers in your community. We get it. At first it was like, oh my gosh, we're moving from a place we've been in 15 years. We're going to Baltimore. You know, they connect Baltimore to the things that are not real once they get here, and once they get there, they feel it. And it's our job to make them feel that experience and make sure that this won't be the last time we'll be here. I know there was a question about the extension. We're talking about that in March. You all lost a year of our tournament. We felt like we lost it through a virtual experience. So Al and I have been on it. We've made some adjustments to our agreement, but in March, our board and the mayor and Al will begin to talk about what could an extension look like, 1 year, 2 year, to give those years back. So that hasn't been determined, but just know that we are in conversation, and I'm excited about what we're doing in Baltimore right now.
Well, it's incredibly exciting to hear, Commissioner, that you guys are already talking about, you know, what an extension looks like. And I know that Alan and his team at Visit Baltimore have done a phenomenal job of promoting this event. So if you're in the Baltimore area and you don't know about this event, I am not sure what rock you have been sleeping under or whether you've been hibernating for the last 18 months, but we're incredibly excited about this. I've got two quick other questions, and I'm going to jump over to Shalonda. I know we've got some great questions from our audience today for you too. So when we talk about the logistics of the tournament, the stuff that's going to impact folks' everyday lives, you know, outside of the tournament experience, whether we're talking about increased traffic, public transit modifications, inclement weather cancellations, things of that nature. How can folks stay best up to date as to what's going on? Is there a centralized location for information related to the tournament and the impact of the tournament kind of on everyday life that people should be paying attention to?
Yes, sir, Councilman, and Shalonda has been a part of this briefing as well. But probably over the last month, Administrator Shorter has had a meeting with his city agencies, and it included Visit Baltimore, Downtown Partnership's been at the table, and we've been talking about just overall broad issues, how to clean the gateways. So the city's on top of that, making sure that's happening. We talked yesterday about traffic control issues and some of the construction that's going on downtown. So DOT and Public Works involved in coming up with the right plan there. So I would say, thankfully, to Mayor Scott and his team, we're all at the table. From the mayor down, I think the city agencies understands the impact of the CIAA tournament. All these fans that will be coming in, a number of folks who have not been to Baltimore. So we want to make sure it's very welcoming experience, and the city is at the table, and I really want to thank them for that leadership, because that's extremely important. I will tell you, the Charlotte contingency is coming to Baltimore. So the mayor and council and county executives, they will be here, and they will be looking at the tournament a little differently than we're looking at it. So I think it's important that all of us are on our A game, if you will, Councilman. And so we're working very closely with the city departments. Look, the elephant in the room, let's make no mistake, public safety is an issue and a concern of the tournament. And the commissioner and I have had these conversations. We've put together, I think, a really good public safety plan in partnership with Baltimore Police Department, Wolf Security, other entities. I know Shalonda and her team has been intimately involved. So we have a footprint, a plan that's in place, not to over police, but to make sure folks are feeling comfortable. So that plan will be in place, and we're going to overlay it with volunteers on street corners, all over the city in a pearl, so folks will be easily recognized. And so I think there's a really, really good plan there, Councilman, and we have to be in alignment with the city and the city agencies. And I'm really excited about, we've had open communication and dialogue. So I think everybody is on board. We have more work to do. We got 13 days. We'll get there, but I think it's exciting.
And I would encourage you to go on the CIAAtournament.org. I would encourage you, if you're on social media, to follow us on social media, the Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. That's the CIAA Sports. And if you just put CIAA, you'll find us. Follow us on that. We also have an app that you can just pull up during the tournament, and it will give you all the current information. Our PR, marketing, internal and external team working with Visit Baltimore's team will be pushing out information daily about what's going on, not just game scores. We want you to know who's in the championship. We want you to purchase tickets. You can go on that site for lodging, ticket information. But if anything happens, our communication, our public safety committee, Eddie Weatherington and our team is working very closely with Corbett. This is so important to me, the communication, the public safety, and COVID. Al knows, I told the team on a call, if we don't have those three things straight right there, I'm dead in the water. It's so important as a leader. I have a responsibility of potentially 100,000 people in your city. And anything that happens during that tournament, it comes to me and Al and I. So we want to make sure that our bases are covered as best as possible. We're working with the local, state, and even in some things, it could be federal based on what's going on the national. This is not a small event. So what you haven't seen and what you don't know, and again, Al and I can tell you, we're trying to be as realistic dealing with COVID based on whether people are coming or going. Right now, it looks like a whole lot of people are coming out. So we just gonna have to get ready. But everybody needs to be, as Al said, prepared and ready for the known and unknowns. And I think we're gonna be good. I told Al I feel a little anxious because things are going very well. And there's things that are popping up, but they're not like they've been in the past of the anxiety. This time it's like, we're ready to go. We're 13 days from the game starting, teams coming into your city, and people will be there Wednesday and Thursday, fully ready to play, watch games, eat, party, and have a good time.
And Councilman, Bon Whiting on Visit Baltimore's team is sort of running point on our side, working in lockstep with Marcus Clark with the CIAA. But our team, we will be meeting every day at 9 o'clock in the morning, beginning on Tuesday morning, to recap the day before. So from a communication standpoint, I know folks from Sholanda's team will be a part of this communication group. We want to make sure we debrief from the night before and how do we improve, get better, fill some of the gaps from the day before. And I know the city will have a command station as well on a daily basis. So I really feel really good from a communication standpoint. We're all in alignment here, and we're going to make sure this is a great event.
Thank you. That's really helpful. Shalonda, I'm going to kick it over to you. I know we got a number of great questions from our audience.
Thank you. And we had so many questions that are in here that it's a good thing. I'm going to start off with you, Commissioner, because people are asking about where it was previously. And so, you know, if there are any sort of lessons learned that we can glean so that we take this to the next level in Baltimore. So any two or three lessons learned from previous host cities.
Yeah, the lesson that I learned and that we prepared ourselves with Baltimore to deal with those lessons we learned in the past, managing our marks and brand. We let that get away for a period of time. And so that is so detrimental to the brand of the city and to the brand of the conference. So learning how to manage that in partnership. And I think that's one lesson that every event, you never see the NBA, the NFL, I worked for the NCAA for 10 years, Final Four, did an event this large. There's a protection of the brand. The other thing is the community engagement. And I'm not talking about the events. I'm talking about the leadership being on one page to help the conference navigate all those things that we don't have control of, because we're really just renting out your space, if you want to say that, right? But we're living in your space, but we need leadership that is collaborative, from the mayor's office to Al to the building. Everybody, Shalonda, everybody's working together and you're one team. So your team and our team, now we are an all-star team. That's a lesson that has to happen. That's what made the Baltimore bid so unique, is because when we met with them, they were all on one step, even if the Baltimore Orioles, right? I mean, they were a part of that process. I think it's real important to have that piece. And the other piece is the hotels will make or break you. That's what I learned. And I knew that before coming here, because I did hotel contracts with men's and women's Final Four, but they will help you or they will not help you by inclusion, diversity, what's communicated, how they manage, how they welcome people. And I think Baltimore's done it, and rates, right? Where you're in a culture where if you up the rates, you will hear about that the entire week. I don't want to do that in Baltimore. I want to be able to talk. If it's snowing, we can deal with snow, but I don't want to deal with we are uppricing people when we don't have to.
Right. No, which is key. And I thank you. You actually make me think about something. And I'm looking at some of the people who are on the line, who are sponsors, who are partners, who are hoteliers, who are, people, the city stood up in Baltimore City. It's like, okay, we want this beyond the amount of time. So it's good to hear that those conversations are happening in March. So we want to represent. And so a lot of our sponsors and businesses are rallying around how can they best support. So, as we talk about ways that our communities can continue to get involved, should we be promoting? What is their toolkit? What are the things that we should be doing to make sure that we're amplifying the message beyond just what you're doing and we're doing, but in the broader community as well?
Thank you. Yeah, that's absolutely. And I appreciate the hotels. They have no idea how much relief they have provided us, the CIAA and our member institutions, and working with us, to manage expectations. And, we're going to do our best to get all heads in bed. I mean, that's our job to do that. And we need people to purchase tickets. We need people to see and value the student athletes in the game as well. That's the other one. If there's a fourth lesson, is that it shouldn't just be the CIAA's responsibility. It's a community responsibility. Majority of our tickets are at our member institutions, but we're working with the city and our office to get rid of some of these other tickets. We want community, we want youth, we want people to be involved in that way as well. And here's an opportunity.
Hey, Shalonda, you mentioned about the local contributors or sponsors. I just wanted to take an opportunity to really thank our local sponsors for really stepping up financially. And we've raised close to $1.3 million this year from the private sector. And the commissioner mentioned earlier, this is a different model. The city of Charlotte, their version of Visit Baltimore, did not have to raise any money for the tournament. So this was a total different animal. We didn't know where we're going to get land, but thankfully we did a really good job. And I know we had great leadership on this one, but the business community stepped up. And, just as an example, big and small, medium-sized businesses. I know my friend Ed Breaks on this call with Ellen and Tucker, who's a contributor to the CIAA, and there are a number of other firms from Bank of America to White and Turner, BGE, Under Armour, BWI. There's a long list of great local contributors. And so we're very grateful and thankful for our business community really stepping up, but not only financially, but people power, volunteering, spreading the word. And a lot of the leaders here in the corporate sector, they're alum of these institutions. So that's very important.
Which is good. Thank you. No, we can't thank them enough for that. I'm gonna highlight a couple more towards the end of this as well. Al, we have a question for you that's asking about the visitor center itself. Is it any chance that will be operational? Any thoughts for that to be in use?
Well, that's a great question. And I knew that question would come up. And I'm happy to say that we did get approval from the city because it's a city-owned venue. They gave it thumbs up for us to reopen the visitor center. So our team is working very quickly to get that building reopened, and it will be open in time for the tournament. And we're excited about that. And we'll do our part to make sure it's a very welcoming space in conjunction with, Rash Field, what they're doing there with that venue. But we think it's important for it to be online, and it will be, and we'll be working very quickly to get it up and operational.
Just good. Thank you. We have some restaurants. I know the Center Club and others, put some questions in, and they said, how can we assist in any hospitality needs or anything? So we have restaurants that still want to support. Any ways they can get involved?
Well, I can say a lot of that is sort of driven by the marketplace. I think the CIAA has definitely selected some of their particular opportunities, but there may be more opportunities. Some of the institutions may have a need for some special activities that they're looking at, but I don't think it's too late. Obviously, all the entities on this call, they can reach out to our team at Visit Baltimore to help with that. We want to make sure people who are looking for opportunities know where
Right.
to go, so we can help promote them and connect them to the right individuals.
Yeah, and I would say don't be discouraged if you don't, like, if we don't use you or like you're not a part of it. You still can engage and be a part of the tournament. I mean, it's a 365-day machine. We're 11 days for coming that. Most of the stuff, we always say a good idea at this time is not the greatest idea. It could be a bad idea, right? So we're very cautious about timelines and managing expectations. So if you're not being used this year, don't be frustrated. You know, let's figure out if there's a way we can get you in front of, like Al said, on the list for future opportunities. And again, all of us, we're either bringing folks in already or we've had these connections, but we are doing our best to make sure that we are really taking advantage of what's in the community for all of our events and partnerships.
Which is helpful, extremely. Al, I know we're getting a lot of questions about who they should contact, and we're going to send a follow-up email just for everybody on here. We'll send a follow-up email with some links to some of the things that you have, just to make sure everybody has it. This will be broadcast on our website so people could continue to see it. But is there a point of contact? I know you mentioned Bond earlier that we should include as a contact for people interested in learning more, getting more information.
Yeah, I think, and then we try to centralize these questions. And Bond Whiting is probably the best person to filter everything through, and then he can decide on who needs to get that information from there and distribute it out to the appropriate folks. But Bond would be the best person. He is the senior special project manager for the CIAA on our team. And then we have some other contractual people, but Bond can make a decision on who needs to get that question at the right time.
Okay, perfect. So we'll make sure that Bond's email address is in the chat, and we'll make sure that we follow up with that, because people are asking, which is a good thing. We want everybody involved. We also have a question that's coming about the hotels, and if there are some local hotels that we're promoting in the city, and it's a two-parter, are there opportunities for us to get tickets for some of the youth and get them engaged in the game? And I'm gonna add on a piece to that, because I know that we've had other businesses who said, you know what, how can I help? Is that an opportunity for people to sponsor youth? Like, are there some other things so that we could make sure that people are attending the games and that our community is engaged?
So
well, go ahead.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Well,
You go.
I'll start with this. All the Baltimore City School for the high school day, we will and have provided tickets for them to bring youth to the game. We are putting that platform virtually, though, just for some concerns of transporting and COVID and bringing them all to the convention center. So they will have the platform for high school day, and we will have access to tickets for those youth. We've done that even here in Charlotte. Somehow we want to make sure that they have access to it. I know, Al, you guys are probably doing some things as well. The hotels, we have contracted all the hotels downtown. So all of our teams will be there, alumni, sponsors, CIAA operations team. So the whole goal was to fill up downtown. And we've required our institutions to stay in the properties that we've contracted.
Yeah, and so on the hotel front, folks should really understand that in Charlotte, there was a 3-night minimum in Charlotte. In Baltimore, there's no 3-night minimum. And we kept all the rates under $200 for all the hotels within the block. Those are two big things that did not happen in Charlotte that's happening in Baltimore. So our hotels have been partners. I think that's the key word. They're partners in this one. And we've done training with the hotels too, because it's important. Look, we're in COVID. Service delivery is not the greatest right now anywhere in America. So we've talked to our hotels about doing check-in. Can you provide maybe a beverage as folks are waiting? Can you pipe in the right genre of music for this demographic as folks are in your hotel? So we've had these conversations. We're going to have more, because I think it's extremely important for our hotels to be a good partner here. On the ticket side of things, the local contributors, and we're working on that this week, but as a part of their contribution, they will be provided X number of tickets that they can distribute to staff, or they can distribute to community residents. So that's a part of the local contribution piece. And also folks who are interested in tickets, keep in mind this, these are 12 HBCUs. That revenue sometimes is of a challenge for some of these institutions. So when you buy a ticket, you purchase a ticket, you're helping some young person who's attending one of these institutions. So I would encourage you, if you're looking to getting tickets in a large quantity, I'm sure the commissioner and team can work out some discounts for you on these tickets, but you are doing a give back to a conference that needs revenue to take care and help some young folks. And that's what this is about. It's not the ACC. It's not the Big East. They don't give away tickets. And so this is our opportunity for a huge give back opportunity to help an HBCU and help some students.
Thank you, Al. And I think a couple of things, because I know we want to shift and show a couple slides of what we have. But what I want to make sure our audience understands, while we're focusing on Black and Brown, and we have that about this is about all of us. And so, you know, as the commissioner talked about, when you come to a restaurant, yes, we want to make sure you're supporting the Black. We want to make sure you're supporting all of the restaurants. And this is an uplift for our entire city. When one group wins, we all win. And so that's the nature of what we want to make sure we're doing here. I know there were a couple of questions about how long it's here. The original contract was from 21 to 23. As both Al and the commissioner said, you know, they're going back to see if there's some ways we can get some extended time based on that Baltimore show up and show out, because that helps our case and our cause. And so we're really looking forward to all of us doing as much as we can in those areas to do that. And then I saw Bruce Pansner's note. We're talking about what's happening at the arena. We know that we'll have a redeveloped arena, hopefully when they come back next year. We have the Lexington Market redevelopment that's happening. We have the super block. So there's so much that's happening in our city and downtown that we want to make sure everybody gets an opportunity to celebrate. And just if we can show a couple slides just of how Downtown Partnership is also engaging more deeply. Commissioner, I know you highlighted some of what was happening, but it makes a difference. Before we go there, this slide is really important. We want to make sure that people are getting involved in the best way you can. They said it, we need you to buy tickets. It is important that the arena is filled. We need people to volunteer, and all of these links are there. Welcome guests, help escort, whatever is needed, we want to do that. We have some auxiliary events that are happening. Fan Fest, I know you said that it's full, but support Fan Fest, right? Support these vendors who have come out and done that. We're also having a pop-up experience. And so we called it earlier like Boost Light. We talked about, you know, our Boost program. This is where, and thank you to the Cordish companies and other partners who have really allowed us to come into their space. And we're going to create an artisan market. We have a Micah made art market, and we have a pop-up gallery. And these things are where we're able to bring some of our local vendors in to create pop-up experiences. We're filling some of the vacant spaces. We want to make sure our city is shown in its best light, and everybody is rallying around to do that. The pop-up gallery, what's so great about that, if you guys don't know, Baltimore has the first Black arts and entertainment district in the country. And so, you know, curated by Hot Sauce Artists Collective. They're going to be featuring a lot of that there. So you will not want to miss. We want to cover every area of the footprint so that there's something to do for all of them. So that's what we have in the area of the market. You know, other things that we just want to make sure that people know, we have a curated experience with Ezekwe DeVoe. And so one of these things is, how do we make sure we are doing and creating an experience for our Black-owned restaurants that are downtown? So Remix, Black Swan, all of them, Dark and Blue. If you have not restaurants, the thought is CIAA, we want to support the schools. Internet connection is unstable, so hopefully you're hearing me for some of this stuff, but you know, please come out. All of this will be in a way that you can share the information. So we also have a list of Black-owned restaurants. I know Visit Baltimore has done an amazing job. They have a link that we'll make sure we put in your site that, you know, categorizes our Black-owned businesses that are around our city. We want to make sure that you are supporting as much as you can. So it's 10 o'clock now, Councilman. I'm gonna come back to you. If there's anything else you want to do as sort of closing remarks for our guests.
Just want to thank Commissioner McWilliams and Al. Really looking forward to the tournament. And Shalonda, I'm thrilled that we're back. I know we got some great episodes coming up in 2022, and really looking forward to those and engaging with our guests as well as our amazing audience. Thanks. Back to you, Shalonda.
Which is good. Thank you so much, Commissioner. Final parting words. What do you want to tell us? What we need to do?
Look, I have such a sense of gratitude and a heart of just thankfulness to be in a partnership and see all this good work. I mean, to see the value, and Al said it, and I think you said it too. It's not just you have these Black colleges are coming here. We want to engage everyone, and we want an event that feels inclusive, it feels diverse, and it makes Baltimore really proud that you all selected us. Not us just selecting you, but you saw fit for us to be in your community. So we look forward to seeing you all in 11 days. I'll be in your city. It will be my
11
home.
days. Thank you. We look forward to it. Al, you gonna close us out?
Well, I'm a big proponent. It starts with leadership. Everything we do is about leadership, and the commissioner is a great leader. The 12 presidents, they have confidence in us. And so now it's on Baltimore. We have a huge opportunity to just knock this out of the park. We do this well. Hopefully we can get them to extend and stay longer. But if we do this well, it also puts us in position to get more larger events to Baltimore, like World Cup. So this is
next.
This is really, really important that, look, this is not just about a one and done. Let's do this so we can really reposition Baltimore as a great brand. So that's what I'm hopeful.
All right, let's do this. You can find this on our website. We will follow up with questions, any answers, anything you need. Please don't hesitate. Baltimore is on display, and we got this. All right, see you in 11 days. All right.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Shalonda.
you.
Be well.
Thanks, Mish.
Thank you, Al.